Hi, everybody. Welcome to Life Stories Podcast for the Love of Books. I'm Shara Goswick, your host. My guest today is Candi Rose. Candi is a businesswoman. She is an author and now a TEDx speaker. I read her book titled Naked, A True Story: Incarceration, Abuse, Shame, and Redemption. She's lived through all of those things. When you read her story, you will learn that. Her book is very raw. I will tell you, she's very honest about what she went through. But I love that she's telling her story. I think it's important. I think we need to hear stories of people who have been through the stuff and are on the other side, and the ones that are telling what God has done in them and through them. She didn't want to leave anything out or anything behind, which is why she titled it Naked. But I really enjoyed talking to Candi. You will love this conversation. Thanks for being
Candi,
here.
I'm so excited to talk to you. Whenever I speak with an author, I always read their book before I talk to them because I feel like it does you a disservice if I don't know what I'm talking about, if we're going to discuss your book. And I feel like the people that are listening need to know that I know what I'm talking about. Your book is fascinating and it is about your life. And so you have got quite a story. Honestly, I'm amazed that you are here to tell it.
Yeah.
Pretty wild. It's pretty wild.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So happy to be here. So I'm very excited that you read my book. It means a lot. And I understand that not everybody can read everybody's books, but the
Right.
fact that you have, I know this interview is going to be so different than a lot of podcasts that I've been on.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Absolutely. It's important to I love to read. I will say I read fast and I love to do it. So I know not everybody wants to, nor can they, but I enjoy it. I enjoy it. I want you to talk about your story. And I mean, obviously, we don't have time to go through the whole thing. But what I loved about your book is that you were very honest about the hard things that you went through. You didn't mince any words. I mean, it was very raw and very honest. But you also talked about when you made a mistake or had a problem or went through something hard, you said, this is what can happen if you do this. You didn't just say, this was my life and I did this and then we moved on. It's helpful for somebody to know because I think a lot of times, no matter what the mistake is that we make, we don't always recognize how it affects the people around us. And that's one thing, I think you mentioned it at one point. You don't think about it when you're in the middle of, life is good and you're having fun and you don't think about that. And so I loved that you took the time to do that, to explain consequences that, in fact, I wrote a quote down somewhere. Oh yeah, you did. You tell the truth about what happens when people make mistakes. They do. And while some of our life choices have very bad consequences, we don't think about those things.
Mm.
So I'm going to let you kind of, however deep or whatever you want to talk about your story, but why was it important for you to write this book? And what is the title is Naked? I know there's a subtitle in there, but what does that mean when you are writing this?
Such a great opener question. Naked is to me in Genesis in the Bible, it says the man and the wife were naked and they were before God and they were not ashamed. And the book is all about me exposing all the parts that I tried to hide for decades. And because I am somebody that dealt with toxic shame.
Mhm.
And sometimes people are like, well, what's toxic shame? Shame is something that we all have at one point or another. But
Right.
toxic shame is when it starts to take over your life and you start to feel so horrible about yourself. You start to hate yourself. You start to think, I'm such a bad person. You take it one step further than guilt. And for me, that shame almost cost me my life. At one point, I felt so ashamed of the girl that I had become that I considered taking my life. And so, um, the process of freeing myself from my traumatic past, of freeing myself from my shame, was not an overnight process. I
Yeah.
began by, writing about it, and then I began by talking on podcasts, just audio only, and eventually I started to share, uh, videos about it, and then eventually I wrote the book, and I was like, "If I write my book and I put it all out there, it will be one of the last things that I need to do in order to free myself from my past."
Yeah.
And I felt that God had called me to write this book so that other people could see that they could also be freed from their past.
Absolutely.
It wasn't an easy book to write. I cried a lot because I had been running my whole entire life from my past, like many of us do. And you might not call it running, but it's when when you suppress it so much that you think, well, if I could just not think about it, then it didn't really happen. Or if I could just become successful enough, if I could just be liked enough, if I could be respected enough, if I could find a relationship, I'll be happy. None of that made me happy
Yeah.
because I was always running from the pain and I never faced it. And the pain caused me shame. And so that's why I wrote the book. It was to free myself and to help others see that they could be free too.
Yeah, it's so good. And, I think that when we bring stuff like that out in the light, we are ashamed, but things that we've done, bring it to the light, the enemy can't do anything. I mean, it's out there. So what there's nothing he can do. So I think it's important. You know, just as an overview, you were on drugs, all different kinds of drugs. You just made some crazy decisions. And I mean, really, it is a miracle. I'm amazed. God has a plan for your life because it's crazy the things that you went through. But one of the things you talked about was that you were thankful for the experiences that you went through. I know if to choose it again, you would probably do things differently, as all of us would. But you said you were thankful um, and you couldn't see it at the time, like, your relationship with your stepdad. You talked about how you didn't like how strict he was and you didn't like the things that he did, but then later you could look back and you were thankful that he was the way that he was with you, that helped you
Yeah.
tremendously. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that I spent so much time hating myself that once I figured out how to free myself, I saw that I could be thankful for the things I went through because if I had never gone through it, I wouldn't have the compassion that I have for people.
Right.
I mean, so many things that I've gone through, I can relate and
Yeah.
have compassion and empathy for so many different groups of people because of what I went through. And
Yeah.
if I didn't go through that, I wouldn't I wouldn't understand them.
Right.
And when you don't understand people, you judge them. And
Right.
I try my hardest. I'm not a judgmental person by not by nature, but after what I went through. But I always wonder, well, why are they acting like that? Instead of, what's the deeper reasoning behind why they're being the way they are. So that's why I say I'm thankful for it. Um, my stepdad was super strict growing up. And I was a wild child. I mean, I was sneaking out. I did those things where you put this y'all might not know this, but when you have an alarm system, if you put a piece of tape over it, you can sneak out. So I found this out. So I would do it when my parents weren't home, and then I'd turn the alarm on and I'd try it out, and I'd be like, "Oh, cool, it doesn't work." So it doesn't go off. And so I would sneak out all the time. I snuck in boys in my
Wow.
basement room. My dad has chased off guys. I mean, wild. And so I would sneak out, and every now and then they'd wake up and go check on me because they're like, we don't trust her. And man, they would find me. This was back before we had GPS. They'd come find me at a party. I have no idea how they found me. I mean, they're parents. We're
Right.
very, I'm a mom now, so you figure it out. But
Yeah.
they would find me without GPS, without a phone, without nothing. And I would get grounded, and I was always grounded, and, he was real strict on me, but, looking back, I don't know where I would be if he wasn't
Right.
as strict as he was.
Yeah.
So, that's why I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful that every now and then got the belt because, like, I was so disrespectful, and he never hit me in my face or nothing like that. But every now and then when I'm yelling at obscenities at him and I'm calling him all kinds of profanity, I got the belt. And it was like, looking back, I know people are different on what they agree with
Right.
punishment, but I feel like, okay, well, I mean, I was acting out a lot.
Yeah.
So that's why I say I'm thankful for it. And I don't know that I would choose anything looking back because I think if I would have just changed one thing, I might not be a mom now. I might not,
Yeah.
I, I wouldn't be a speaker. I wouldn't
Right.
be an author. I wouldn't be who I am if all the things didn't happen. So that's why I like for people to understand that what happened to you, especially trauma, um, there are things that weren't our fault,
Right.
but how we chose to respond to those things definitely was our choice.
Yeah.
And many of us ran from the things that hurt us.
Yeah.
And then it just, we got into this roller coaster of like, how did I even get here into my life? How have I made so many mistakes? And so, yeah, I'm thankful for it. So I want other people to know you can take all that pain and
Mm.
shame and trauma and you can turn it around for something good in your
Absolutely.
life. Yeah.
100% agree with that. And everybody's story is different. My story is not your story, but I understand what you're saying. I wish I could go back and do some things different, but at the same time, would I be who I am today if I did not go through all the things that I went through? So I totally understand that. And this may sound like a dumb question. I was not ever familiar with drugs. And I know I've talked to a lot of people that have gone that direction. But for a parent that's listening, what was the draw to that? Was it just something fun and exciting? Was it you were trying to escape something? Like, what was the draw to go in that direction?
So I was bullied in high school
Mhm.
and I talked about that.
Yeah,
And that was really hard for me.
yeah,
And I was bullied for 2 years. And it was so bad that we ended up having to get the police involved because it had escalated to them vandalizing my mom's car, our driveway, writing BITCH and shaving cream in the driveway, which stained it, all this stuff. And um, it escalated so much that I ended up leaving my school and going to another school by the 3rd year. 2 of my best friends turned on me. My own cousin was friends with the girls that started all the bullying, never stood up for me. I was fighting with my 2 fathers. My dad and my stepdad were getting mad at me because as a teenager, I was acting out. I didn't know this then for the parents watching, but I was acting out because I was in so much pain from being bullied.
yeah,
And unfortunately, instead of my 2 fathers being more loving, they were very strict. And
yeah,
so we could talk about dad stuff a
right.
lot, but I even, went and visited my dad at one point, and he ended up kicking me out because I wasn't following his rules. And so all of it combined, looking back,
Yeah,
I was a hurting teen and I wasn't getting the support or the guidance or whatever it was that I needed at that time. My mom was trying to, love me as much as she could, but I was so angry,
yeah,
and I felt so betrayed by my friends and my cousin and my dad's, and I was just angry. And so after I left and went to another school, I quit sports, I quit going to church, I started skipping school, I'm doing all that stuff, and I just wanted a way out. I didn't wanna feel the pain anymore.
yeah.
So I started drinking and doing drugs, and that was my way out.
And I guess that can apply to anything, any kind of behavior to numb what you're having to deal with.
Yeah.
Anybody could be dealing with that.
Some people eat, some people
Right,
gamble, some
right.
people porn. I became promiscuous. I
Mhm.
was searching for intimacy,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know? Yeah, something, just feeling anything
right,
other than the pain.
right.
Yeah.
I wish we could go through all of it. People just need to read your book because it's amazing. It's just your story is amazing to me. But what was the point when you realized, okay, something has got to give, something has got to change? Because you felt that for a long time. It was clear. But what was that point? Do you remember?
Yeah, that was actually when I had just completed the biggest project of my career as a real estate investor,
Mhm.
and I was miserable, and I was like, "What's wrong with me?"
Yeah.
Well, I've worked so hard. I've turned my entire life around. From the outside looking in, everybody's thinking, "She's got it. She's got it made." I'm a single mom. I'm making a lot of money. I'm flipping houses. I'm building houses. I'm volunteering at church. Everything looks perfect.
Mhm.
And on the inside, I was miserable. Like I was so lonely, and I didn't know what that was. And I wanted to find out what was wrong with me. Why was I so lonely? Why wasn't I being appreciative or grateful of everything that I had accomplished? I mean, I've always loved my daughter. She's always come first. But it was like I was working so hard. I wanted to spend more quality time with her. I don't know. It was like I had this perfect life and I just walked away from it all. And that's when I ended up moving to Spain because I was like, I'm gonna go eat, pray, love it up. And I always joke around. I'm like, I did a lot of eating and praying, but not a lot of loving over there. So I didn't find Mr. Right over there, but I found myself over there.
There you go.
And um, that was such a beautiful experience. And
Yeah.
it was just, people might be like, well, I can't just up and move to another country. It's not about that. It's that I was flipping so many houses and I'm, raising my daughter on my own and I'm not able to face my past and my
Yeah.
pain. So I knew that if I didn't leave, I wouldn't be able to say no to a good deal because I wanted to make money, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, so to me, it was just about getting away to where I would have to sit with my thoughts
Yeah.
and not be able to do not be able to do what I know how to do, not be able to just say, "Okay,
Right.
take a house and flip it because I know how to do it." Like, I had to get away from my life so that I could find myself,
Yeah.
and that's when I began writing my book.
I love it.
Uh,
How long were you able to be in Spain?
so we were there for 9 months. Uh, we were planning on staying longer. My daughter was in a concertada, like a Spanish-speaking
Yeah.
school, but then COVID hit, so I decided to make it so we came home.
That changed a lot for people,
Yeah. Yes, it did.
a whole lot. What about somebody that's at a crossroads right now who maybe has a past, a crazy past, and they want their life to be stable? They want things to work out, but they feel like they'll never get past what they've been through and the shame and all this stuff. What would you say to somebody that's at that point right now where they've got to make a decision the right way or just continue what they're doing?
I would say I've been there. I 100% agree. I know how it feels when you feel hopeless and that nothing is ever gonna change and that you've dug a hole that's too deep to ever pull yourself out of.
Yeah.
I understand if you think that your future is hopeless because of all the things that you've done or the things that have been done to you or that you feel like it's too late, you don't have enough experience to do this or that or, you know, I would say I've been there, and all of that is a complete lie. You can always change your life, and more than anything now, my main mission is to show others how to use the pain and shame of their traumatic past
Yeah.
to free themselves, gain strength, but also to take it and then show others through their story how they can find their freedom. So my whole thing right now is when you think you feel like it's over, that is that is the enemy talking. That is not true. And God says, with God, all things are possible. And God can take every single thing that was meant for your harm and turn it into your good. And He can take you even when you don't think you have any qualifications and can make you a leader like He has done for me.
Absolutely.
So never think it's
Absolutely.
over. It's not.
Yeah. As long as there is breath in your lungs, I think he has a purpose for each one of us. And you don't have to get into the relationship. But one of the things that I respected about decision that you made was to not trash talk your daughter's father. You said that it's one thing to state the facts, and there's another thing to state your opinions of the facts. And there, you didn't go into a lot of detail, but you just said out of respect for her. I think people need to learn from that because, you know, it's difficult enough not being together, not being married, having that separation, but it's gotta make it worse when you're constantly trash talking and talking ugly about your child's parent. I mean, it can't help anything. So I greatly respect the way that you handled that. I thought that was very good.
Thank you. I did write a whole chapter
Mhm,
of everything.
mhm.
And then right before I was like, nope. Who
Yep.
knows? Maybe in about 10 years I'll let y'all read it, but which is older. But I just realized I had heard the saying that, the first person to start talking about the other parent loses.
Yeah.
the child is going to figure out on their own eventually what the parent did. And if you talk bad about them, it just, I mean, you're not supposed to talk bad about people in general anyway,
Right. Right.
and I know it's hard. Believe me. I mean, when I've talked to my friends, okay, yeah, I'm probably a little different person. When it comes to my daughter, I didn't want her to read something that is going to make her feel bad.
Right.
Yeah, and I don't ever want my daughter to think it was her fault, you know?
Absolutely.
And so
Absolutely.
I think it's just they'll figure it out. They'll figure it out on their own. And if who knows? If by some crazy thing, by the time she gets older, he's actually a better person, then that'll be good for her. I guess
Absolutely.
if they end up, I don't know if she ever ends up meeting, her dad,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
she doesn't know him. We have had that talk before. That was difficult talk,
Mm.
but yeah, that's why I changed it.
Yeah. Yeah, it feels good to write all that out though, and then, I mean, if you hit delete, you hit delete, but just to get it out of your system.
Yeah, and the whole book was all about me and what I experienced, and there was one chapter that wasn't just about me. It was about my daughter, and I didn't feel that I had the right to
Mhm.
write that because it involved her.
Yeah.
So, out of protection for her and love
Absolutely.
over anything for her, for her to know. I mean, I just love her so much. And you know what? I'm off topic right now, but I became a full-time single mom with no help from the father, and I would never trade it for the world.
Yeah,
It was hard, but she makes my whole entire life worth living.
absolutely.
I told her, like, "You saved my life." I think God sent her into my life to, like, to save me because I was still floundering before she came along. That's
Yeah.
so
That's
yeah,
awesome. I love
yeah.
that. Well, you're a very savvy businesswoman. I was very impressed with your real estate ventures and all that you did. That's so cool. And you have written this fabulous book that I've recommended and I will continue to recommend because I think it's really good for people to see a story like yours, the hard things that you went through, but how you overcame and what you did. And what you're doing now, but you're also a TEDx speaker. And so I want to know all about that because I am fascinated with that journey. But tell me what that was like.
Oh, so I just got back from TEDx about a week ago. I went up to Canada, out of the country,
Wow.
to give this talk, and the theme was reborn,
Hmm.
which hit super hard with
Yeah.
me and my story and what I talk about and the community organizer and I we just clicked our beliefs are we were both, believers and it just felt right. And
Yeah.
so this was also one of the I talk about like final straws like of freeing myself from my shame. And it was just being able to get up there and tell my story on the biggest stage in the world,
Yeah.
right? But to tell it in a way that shows other people that they don't have to hide anymore,
Right.
and that why speaking the truth sets you free, which is my title.
Mm.
And it just felt so amazing to actually be able to do that, to get on a stage, tell my story coming from somebody that just hid for decades, never talked about anything for decades, and to finally be free and show others how to find their freedom too.
Yeah, that is awesome. And I know it's a process. This is not something you say, I'm gonna go be a TEDx speaker today. Like, tell me about the process. How did that even begin? What did you have to do?
So before tell you that, I just want everybody to know that I flunked out of speech class twice in college before I
And look at you.
dropped out of college completely. So, I hated public speaking.
Yeah.
I was in remedial reading in my freshman year. So the fact that I wrote a book and didn't use ChatGPT to write it, and which is okay. People can use that if they want. I'm just saying I was able to write a book
Yes.
coming from somebody from remedial reading and to actually get on a stage and speak from somebody that had flunked out of speech class twice was just like, that's how amazing I think God can take our stories and just
Absolutely.
turn them around to something that we would have never ever, ever dreamed of.
Yeah.
It was a process. I did start submitting applications in 2024,
Mhm.
and I wasn't ready. I don't think I wasn't ready yet. The words weren't coming out good enough to get accepted. So in order to be on a TEDx stage, you have to be accepted and invited.
Oh, okay.
And so there are millions of applications going out, they're
Yeah.
choosing probably like, on average, 10 people per stage. So in order to get that yes is like it's a difficult process. And so I quit, after I submitted however many in 2024. So then in 2025 I was like, okay, I'm ready. And I was so ready. It was like I couldn't not do it anymore, and it was like, "I am ready, God." Like, even though I feel some fear of doing this, if you give me that stage, I will do it. I will know that you've given me that stage. So if you give it to me, I will do it. And it's the only stage that I ever prayed over, and it's the first acceptance letter that I got because I ended up getting
Wow.
2 after I got clear on my message. And
Wow.
so, um, I did the interview in August of 2025. I got acceptance in September of 2025. I started writing my script and submitted the first script in October of 2025. They approved the very first script, and it was because I had had this story in my heart for so many
Yeah.
years that I was just like, "This is it."
Yeah.
And, once it was accepted, I started, "Okay, I've got to memorize it," and then in January of 2026 is when I went up to Canada and gave it, and it went great. So,
That's amazing. I can't wait. When is it available for people to watch now, or when
it
will it
will
be
be
available?
probably by the time you release
Oh,
this
okay.
podcast, so they're probably within the next few couple weeks, however long it's
Okay.
gonna be.
That's awesome. Well, let me know the link and I'll add it to my stuff whenever I post our interview. That would be awesome.
Yes.
So, do you like, did they tell you where to go? Did they tell you to go to Canada or did you apply to go to Canada or how did that work? Are they
Yes,
all in Canada or
no, 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 they're all over the entire world.
Oh, wow.
I did apply for one in Spain.
Oh, yeah.
I applied for a bunch in the United States,
Yeah.
one in Ireland. When I was like, "I'll go to Ireland."
Why not? Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
we're of Irish blood, like, "Cool, let's go." So, my daughter's, redheaded, so, but yeah, it just happened to be one of the events that I applied to,
Oh, okay.
and the reason why is that I really loved the theme,
Mm,
Reborn. It just kinda spoke to me, so I was like,
yeah,
"Okay,
that's
yeah,
awesome.
I'm gonna do
That's
it."
very cool. I'm so excited for you because that's a big deal. That's a very big deal. And I know that people, after reading your book and hopefully even after listening to this conversation, are going to be so inspired by you. I always say I would rather learn from somebody that's been through it already and is on the other side than somebody who never really conquered anything. They're still fighting or they're still whatever, which is there's nothing wrong with that. But
Mhm.
if I'm gonna sit and learn, I want it to be from somebody that's already been through it. Not
Yes.
somebody that has it all together, not somebody that's never suffered. I wanna know and I wanna learn from you on how you did it. So, I think you are very inspiring, have such a story, and I'm so glad I got to meet you and, hear your story and read your book. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
and I also wanted to share that I am building a community right now. So it's a free
Okay.
community, and it is exactly that, to show people how to take
That's awesome.
their first step or their next step towards freedom from their past. So I will share that link with you.
Please do.
I say, I do show people, like, I'm not trying to heal people. I'm trying to show people how to find freedom from their
Mm,
past. And
that's
when you
so good.
find that freedom, then you start to change and you start
Yeah.
to step into the person you were created to be. You find your identity, you find yourself, you begin to find your purpose. And a lot of times it's our pain that becomes our purpose in life, right?
Mm.
We take what hurt us the most and we can take it and turn it around and make it something where we can go out and help others. And so, yeah, no matter just make sure that when you are learning from whoever, that they can help you in the way that you need to be helped. And I also tell people that, I did suffer from shame, toxic shame, and that doesn't mean that I don't ever have shame.
Right.
I still do have it. It's just not debilitating shame anymore.
Yeah.
Well,
And
we
you
have
can probably recognize it a lot
Yes,
better now. Yeah.
yes, yes. Like, and it's I would say it's probably kinda like normal shame now,
Right.
right? It's like you can feel those things
Right.
still come over, but it doesn't take me down a path of, like, I'm a horrible person, I hate myself, I need to numb. I don't feel that anymore. It's like I can sit with it and I can be like, "Okay, what happened? What did I do? Or why am I feeling this way?"
Yeah.
And yeah, I think shame is something that just isn't really talked about in society
Right.
a lot.
Yeah. But we all deal with it. We all deal with it on different levels. Candy, this has been so wonderful. I'm so glad I got to meet you and get to
So
visit
glad I
with you
got to meet
today.
you too.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thanks for all your amazing questions. I love
Oh gosh. I
that.
just, I like I said, I love to read, and honestly, I love biographies more than anything else. I read a lot of fiction, but I love biographies. I just love learning about people and about their lives. So I appreciate you writing your book. It's awesome. You did a great job.
Thank you.
All right. Enjoy your day.
All right, you too.
Bye bye.
Bye.